Like, I call it my best body, right?
Okay.
Because I'm in the season of really, truly loving myself.
Yeah.
And that's why I ain't never find you a chicken ever again.
I ain't chicken no more.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Look at this look right here.
She do make the best chicken in America.
Ever.
She got the best fried
She
chicken.
has the best fried chicken in America.
Because you got it like that.
Got it like that.
It's funny, when Tamar does things, because we all know Tamar, like, do you say,
It was you had passed it down to Tawanda. Now
Oh,
she has
let's keep it
so
real.
what happened? Tawanda has the best
Miss
fried
Evelyn
chicken
say,
in America,
let's
period.
keep it
I have
real.
a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. And to integrate them with my relationship, I had to be kind of sensitive with their feelings.
Audrey, I want to apologize to you. I want to apologize to Vaughn because my act seems so selfish.
Yes. Well, there have been times, yes,
Yeah.
I've said that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, look at me. For God's sake.
Stop everything you're doing, because Tamar Braxton just made a move so explosive, it might tear the Braxton empire apart once and for all. In a showdown that pits sibling loyalty against individual ambition, Tamar has allegedly shattered the very foundation of trust that keeps this famous family bound together. If you thought the last feud was intense, buckle up. We're diving into behind-the-scenes contracts, fierce legal battles, and the raging question of whether Toni Braxton can still hold on to her throne, or whether Tamar is about to seize it outright. By the end of this in-depth look, you'll grasp every secret deal, sharp betrayal, and legal bombshell fueling the Braxton family feud. Is Tamar Braxton heroically stepping into her rightful spotlight, or is she about to burn the entire Braxton family brand to the ground? Stay with me, because the next few minutes might change everything you believe about celebrity family drama, and prove just how high the stakes climb when money and power collide. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about why you should care, beyond just sipping the proverbial tea. The Braxtons aren't just any famous family. They're an entertainment powerhouse that spanned multiple decades, conquering music charts, reality TV, and lucrative brand endorsements. Spearheaded by the legendary Toni Braxton, this family name has commanded attention and major dollars for years. But now we see cracks forming in this once unshakable dynasty. Millions of dollars are at stake, along with the family's global reputation. It's a universal cautionary tale about how quickly trust can dissolve when personal ambition collides with family loyalty. Whether you're a diehard Braxton fan or new to the saga, this story offers an inside look at celebrity family legal battles, ambition, and the dark side of collaboration. Think of it as a front-row seat to a real-life drama that blends heartache, betrayal, and massive wealth. And yes, it just might make you question if mixing family with business is ever truly worth it. Rewinding to the genesis of the Braxton legacy, you'll find Toni Braxton, the iconic, award-winning vocalist whose hits practically defined R&B for an entire generation. Her soulful performances and chart-topping songs laid the foundation for everything the family would become. In the beginning, it felt like a storybook come to life. Toni's fame elevated the entire family, turning the surname Braxton into entertainment gold. Enter Tamar Braxton, the youngest sister with a fiery personality and undeniably powerful vocals. Where Toni's aura was classic and refined, Tamar's energy was bold, fresh, and more in tune with the modern entertainment scene. As the Braxton name continued to flourish, Tamar carved out her own niche, drawing in younger fans who craved her outspoken, no-holds-barred style. The Braxton family brand wasn't just about music. Leveraging Toni's stardom, they expanded into reality TV, product endorsements, merchandising, and even potential real estate ventures. With each sister contributing different talents, the Braxtons had a recipe that many families in showbiz envied. Unity plus stardom equals a multi-million-dollar empire. But as we all know, building an empire is one thing, keeping it intact is another. Even at this early stage, there were warning signs. Subtle power plays, financial disparities, and disagreements over who deserved top billing. Those signs would later explode into the family feud we're witnessing today. For years, Tamar found herself opening for Toni at major shows, often receiving a fraction of the performance fees. While she appreciated the exposure, she also resented always being cast as the little sister. When brand deals and merchandise opportunities arose, Toni had final say on profit splits, all in the name of maintaining a cohesive brand image. During this time, Tamar's frustration quietly grew. She saw her star power rising with younger audiences and wondered, why am I always forced to play by Toni's rules? This question became the bedrock of her internal conflict, fueling a slow-burning desire for autonomy and creative control. Reality shows like Braxton Family Values gave fans a front-row seat to the family dynamic. While cameras captured laughter, tears, and reconciliations, what they didn't show were the legally binding agreements behind every episode. According to rumors, Toni maintained a veto over final cuts, deciding how storylines portrayed each sister, and by extension, who got the best and worst airtime. From Tamar's perspective, that veto power was stifling. She believed she had the charisma and talent to headline major segments, but the final product usually maintained Toni as the central figure. This dynamic further stoked Tamar's need to break free from what she considered unfair constraints. Not one to stay silent, Tamar reportedly tried renegotiating certain clauses, especially concerning her reality TV portrayal and music royalties. But each time, she ran into resistance. Sources say that the family's legal teams, largely directed by Toni, pushed back on Tamar's demands, emphasizing the need for a family-first approach. Tamar's attempts at forging her own path felt stifled. The overarching Braxton brand overshadowed her, making her feel like she was a mere footnote in Toni's empire. And that's where the spark of revolt truly began. All those frustrations reached a boiling point when Tamar discovered certain contract details that, in her view, undervalued her contributions to the Braxton brand. Insiders say these details included profit splits that heavily favored Toni and creative control clauses that left Tamar with little say. Convinced she had little to lose, Tamar opted for a secret renegotiation, this time without Toni's knowledge. The big reveal: Tamar allegedly secured amended contracts for upcoming projects, granting her a higher royalty percentage and more autonomy in promotional appearances. This was the bombshell. Once discovered, it threatened the very heartbeat of the Braxton empire: trust. From Toni's standpoint, Tamar's unilateral move wasn't just disloyal, it was blatant betrayal. This is where the story intensifies, because once trust is broken, especially in a family-run brand, everything becomes suspect. Could Tamar do it again? Would other sisters follow suit? Upon learning of these renegotiations, Toni reportedly froze all future group projects. She insisted on a thorough review of every contract tied to the Braxtons, determined to prevent similar secret dealings. This hardline stance alienated Tamar further. In her eyes, this was proof that Toni saw the empire as hers to govern, leaving Tamar's ambitions on the back burner. What had been a cold war of private disagreements now became a hot war in which lawyers, agents, and even sponsors got pulled into the fray, all anxious to see who would win this power struggle. Let's not forget there are more Braxton sisters, and each found themselves in a precarious position. On one hand, Toni was the original superstar, the bedrock of their collective success. On the other hand, Tamar's modern appeal had opened new demographic markets and media opportunities. Publicly, these other sisters tried to maintain a semblance of neutrality. Privately, many struggled to decide where their loyalties lay. Aligning with Toni meant preserving the established brand structure. Backing Tamar implied endorsing personal ambition at the cost of unity. Each sister risked alienating fans and possibly losing out on future deals, no matter which side they picked. Sponsors, record labels, and production companies generally dislike risk. A fractured family brand is an unpredictable commodity. Suddenly, managers started hearing questions like, will Tamar still appear if Toni is involved? Does the Braxton brand still hold if they're at each other's throats? Can we trust them to fulfill contracts if they can't even trust each other? This uncertainty froze new deals and put existing ones on hold. The entire Braxton family name, once a guarantee of strong ratings and profitable tie-ins, began losing its luster in the eyes of cautious investors. Meanwhile, social media users took sides. #Team Tamar argued she'd finally stood up for herself against a system designed to keep Toni in the spotlight. #Team Toni insisted Tamar was biting the hand that fed her. The feud fueled endless online debates, with fans dissecting every snippet of insider info to determine which sister was more justified. All the while, the real question loomed. Would this conflict blow over like previous spats, or had Tamar set off a chain reaction that could bury the entire Braxton brand? Central to Tamar Braxton's latest news is her declaration that she's finally taking her career into her own hands. She believes she's contributed significantly to modernizing the Braxton image, attracting younger fans, and infusing fresh energy into reality TV storylines. From Tamar's vantage point, her bold contract renegotiations simply reflected the value she brought to the table. She's not out to destroy the family brand, she argues. She just refuses to be undervalued anymore. Tamar's break from the family brand was about more than just money. She wanted the freedom to pursue deals on her own terms. New television appearances, product lines, or endorsements that didn't require her to check in with Toni or a group majority. She resented watching her creative input get overridden time and again, especially when she felt her finger was on the pulse of pop culture. For Tamar, this was about respect, a push to be recognized as more than Toni's younger sister. In interviews and social media posts, Tamar has hinted that the real issue isn't sibling rivalry. It's about systemic control within the family. She's painted a picture of a behind-the-scenes environment where Toni's decades-long reputation grants her near-total authority. Tamar claims her attempts to innovate or pivot the brand have often been shot down, stifling both her creativity and her earning potential. With every post, interview, or rumor, Tamar's stance grows clearer. She's done playing second fiddle, and she's willing to risk the entire Braxton empire to carve out her rightful position. On the flip side, Toni Braxton feels Tamar's recent moves threaten to destroy the brand she painstakingly built. Toni overcame enormous obstacles to become an R&B legend, and she believes that foundation is the only reason Tamar could negotiate anything at all. In Toni's eyes, her name recognition is what brought big paychecks, brand deals, and consistent public interest. Every secret renegotiation or solo deal by Tamar chips away at the unified image that networks, promoters, and fans expect from the Braxton name. Toni's approach to controlling contracts isn't necessarily about vanity. She views centralized leadership as essential to keeping the brand intact. If every sister negotiated independently, the Braxton empire could dissolve into chaos, losing the synergy that made it successful. From Toni's standpoint, maintaining a single vision ensures everyone benefits from consistent deals, structured profit splits, and brand clarity. When Tamar unilaterally took a bigger slice, Toni felt blindsided. A betrayal not just of their personal relationship, but of the business rules that held the empire together. Determined to prevent further secret deals, Toni quickly enforced legal firewalls. She demanded revised loyalty clauses, more detailed contractual obligations, and a tight control on how the Braxton name could be used. Critics see this as Toni's attempt to rein in her sister's ambitions, but supporters argue she's just protecting the brand from splintering. Whether you side with Tamar or Toni, one thing's obvious: the emotional stakes are sky-high. Toni is essentially saying, "Play by the rules we agreed on," while Tamar is responding, "I deserve my own rules." Once Tamar's renegotiations came to light, the Braxtons' legal teams launched a full-scale review of every existing contract tied to the family name. This included TV show agreements, merchandise licensing, performance contracts for live events, endorsement and sponsorship deals. They aimed to see whether any other sister had attempted a similar loophole, or if Tamar's move was truly unprecedented. Unsurprisingly, the scrutiny revealed the brand's labyrinthine structure, showing just how many deals hinged on Toni's star power, and how few recognized Tamar's growing influence. Tamar's new terms, if legal, could pave the way for her to sign separate deals using the Braxton name, something Toni vehemently opposes. This conflict escalated to the point of each side threatening lawsuits. Toni wanted to enforce brand unity. Tamar wanted to protect her newly negotiated benefits. The threat of litigation placed a chill over potential projects, as no sponsor wants to sink money into a brand that might end up embroiled in a lengthy court battle. In the wake of these threats, certain potential deals have been postponed or quietly canceled. Some rumored endorsements that once promised six-figure paychecks for a Braxton family appearance have either scaled back or pulled out entirely. For the rest of the family, this turmoil means real-world financial repercussions, not just for Toni and Tamar, but for everyone who depended on the brand's stability. Each day the feud continues, the uncertainty grows. And uncertainty is poison in the entertainment business, where you're only as good as your last reliable showing. Did you know Tamar sometimes opened for Toni at major concerts for significantly reduced rates? Documents suggest that while Toni pocketed the bulk of the performance fee, Tamar received a set, opening act stipend, much less than a co-headliner would get. This kind of pay structure might seem standard, but given Tamar's blossoming popularity, it added fuel to her claims that she was being undervalued. The Braxton name carries weight in beauty, fashion, and lifestyle products. While Toni had been negotiating brand partnerships for years, Tamar often found herself either excluded or offered smaller roles with correspondingly smaller revenue splits. People close to Tamar say she felt she was driving significant sales, especially among younger audiences, yet rarely saw commensurate earnings. Reality TV has been a goldmine for the Braxtons, but the family members had to sign intricate contracts specifying exactly how episodes were produced and edited. Insiders claim Toni's veto power allowed her to shape the show's narratives, giving Tamar comedic or dramatic storylines, but rarely letting her appear as an equal star. This phenomenon reinforced the notion that Toni was the central figure, while Tamar was the sidekick. Toni's greatest hits continue to rack up royalty checks. Tamar's music, though successful, doesn't have the same legacy airplay. When they merged their catalogs under a single Braxton brand for certain joint ventures, Toni's portion overshadowed Tamar's. According to Tamar, this stark difference in royalty streams justified her fight for bigger slices in new deals. Here's a fun tidbit. The Braxtons once planned to open themed lounges or clubs that would showcase their live performances. This enterprise stalled partly because Toni wanted a more upscale vibe, while Tamar envisioned a younger, flashier scene. The disagreement was never resolved, and it remains another example of how diverging creative visions can tank even a profitable concept. Will the Braxton name survive this power struggle? Each passing day sees new rumors. Some suggest Tamar is negotiating a solo reality deal that excludes the rest of the family, while others claim Toni is looking to replace Tamar's role in certain projects with another sister or collaborator. One thing is clear. The sisters are at a standoff, each convinced of her moral right to control her destiny. The possibility of a heartfelt reconciliation seems distant when lawyers and brand managers are calling the shots. In the past, family sit-downs occasionally mended rifts, especially under the watchful eye of a reality TV camera. But this time feels different. The financial stakes are huge, and the emotional wounds run deep. If a family meeting does happen, it might only serve to underscore the irreconcilable differences in how Toni and Tamar view the future of the Braxton brand. If they fail to strike a compromise, the brand could fragment for good. Tamar might sign independent deals that exclude Toni's brand entirely, while Toni continues running the official Braxton machine, minus Tamar. Sponsors might only trust one or the other, fracturing income streams, audiences, and the synergy that once made the Braxtons a unified force. Mixing business with family can be both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, you have shared history and a deep, emotional bond that can drive loyalty. On the other, you have personal baggage, rivalries, and power struggles that can turn every decision into a minefield. The Braxtons exemplify how easily a family empire can tip from success to scandal. Ask yourself, would you be comfortable going into business with close relatives? How would you handle it if you felt undervalued or overshadowed? The Braxtons show that open communication, fair contracts, and mutual respect are crucial to long-term collaboration. Without these elements, resentment can fester and eventually explode into a public fiasco. It's tempting to demonize one sister or exalt the other, but the truth is more nuanced. Toni's vantage point is rooted in her historic success and the protective mindset of someone who built an empire from scratch. Tamar's stance emerges from her experiences of feeling overlooked in a brand that arguably wouldn't be as relevant today without her modern appeal. The real conflict lies in how they reconcile these opposing perspectives, or if they even can. The feud has spilled over onto social media, where fans dissect every subtle shade or cryptic post. Tamar shares posts hinting at betrayal. Toni counters with messages of unity or resilience. Comment sections become battlegrounds, with fans passionately defending their favorite sister. The tension is palpable, and each new post can spark fresh debates. Both sisters have given interviews alluding to the feud without always naming each other directly. For example, Tamar might say she's ready to move on from toxic ties, while Toni remarks about people who forget who built the stage they stand on. These innuendos stoke public intrigue, further dramatizing the standoff. Will Tamar fully depart the family brand and go solo for good? Can Toni's brand thrive without Tamar's younger fanbase? Are there any third parties, like producers or sponsors, who can mediate effectively? At this moment, no one has definitive answers. That uncertainty is precisely why this feud continues to dominate celebrity news and entertainment headlines. Are you hashtag Team Tamar, applauding her for demanding the respect she deserves? Or are you hashtag Team Toni, rooting for the original star to maintain the integrity of the Braxton name? Drop your thoughts below. Share your perspective on who should control the brand's future and why. If you're finding this deep dive fascinating, smash the like button and subscribe for more celebrity family legal battles, behind-the-scenes updates, and the ongoing Braxton family feud coverage. Know someone who lives for the latest celebrity drama or is intrigued by the pitfalls of mixing family and money. Share this post or video with them. Let's see if they're as shocked as we are by the Braxton fallout. The story is far from over. We'll be back with any new court filings, interview snippets, and social media bombshells that pop up. Turn on notifications so you don't miss a single twist in this unfolding saga. In this scenario, Tamar continues to sign solo deals, effectively splintering off from the official Braxton brand. Toni doubles down on her claim to the family's legacy, forging ahead with or without Tamar. They might occasionally cross paths at award shows or on social media, but the once united front would be gone forever. A more pragmatic scenario might see the sisters' legal teams hammering out a compromise. Perhaps Tamar gets a separate arm of the brand, while Toni retains overarching control. They'd appear together for special events, but on paper, their finances and business decisions remain largely separate. This arrangement would keep the brand from disintegrating while giving Tamar the autonomy she craves. The least likely, but still possible. If the sisters realize that mutual destruction serves no one, they could come together for a tearful, heartfelt reunion, publicly uniting to reaffirm the Braxton brand. However, given the depth of the betrayals and financial disputes, fans doubt a simple apology will fix everything. Whispers suggest Tamar is in talks with a major network to produce a spin-off focusing on her life post-Braxton brand. The show would highlight her journey to reinvent her image, sign new deals, and step out from Toni's shadow. If this project moves forward, it could permanently sever her ties to family ventures. Toni may have delivered a behind-closed-doors ultimatum to the rest of the family. They must choose between supporting her approach or risk losing their stake in future deals. If any sister openly supports Tamar's rebellious path, they might be blacklisted from upcoming tours and sponsorships. Unverified sources mention that the Braxtons have undisclosed financial investments, like partial ownership in streaming services or even production studios. If Tamar's actions unravel these deals, the entire family could lose a fortune. Conversely, Tamar might have her own hidden strategies to cushion herself if she's shut out of the bigger brand. With the feud raging, music producers and networks have grown hesitant about placing big bets on joint Braxton projects. Even talk of a Braxton family reunion concert is reportedly on ice, pending legal clarity and some form of public reconciliation. At its heart, this story underscores the fragility of family bonds when individual ambitions take center stage. It's easy to say family over everything, but when contracts, stage lights, and million-dollar checks come into play, the line between relative and rival can blur fast. Toni built the name. Tamar revitalized it. The tension arises because both claims are legitimate. The brand wouldn't exist without Toni's storied past, and it wouldn't remain relevant without Tamar's modern flair. That complexity explains why the feud is so polarizing. It's not merely good versus evil, but two rightful claims butting heads. Money aside, this turmoil weighs heavily on everyone, especially the sisters themselves. Family members who once shared stages and soared high together are now locked in a battle to protect their personal interests. The emotional whiplash can't be understated. Rumors say tears have been shed, screaming matches have unfolded, and certain siblings haven't spoken to each other in months. We've navigated hidden documents, performance fee discrepancies, reality TV controversies, and personal grudges. The central question remains: can Tamar Braxton and Toni Braxton reconcile? Or is this the end of an era for the Braxton family name? Here's where you come in. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tag friends who need the lowdown on the Braxton family feud. Watch for more updates because every day seems to unleash a new wave of revelations. Celebrity feuds come and go, but few have the high stakes and emotional depth of this Braxton saga. The outcome could reshape not just a family or a brand, but also how we view the price of mixing money, fame, and family loyalty. And if nothing else, maybe it'll make us all think twice before signing joint contracts at the family dinner table. The story is far from over. Keep an eye out for legal updates. Will we see lawsuits or restraining orders tied to brand usage? Social media bombshells. Tamar is never shy about venting or cryptically posting about issues. Toni might clap back in her own subtle ways. Other sisters' perspectives. We've yet to fully hear from Tracy, Tawanda, Trina, or others. How they weigh and could tip the scales. Potential mediators. Could a mutual friend or a trusted industry veteran bring them to the negotiation table? Hit that subscribe or follow button so you don't miss a single update on this continuing Braxton family legal battle. As more layers unfold, we'll dissect them here, keeping you informed, entertained, and maybe even a little shocked at what's going on behind the scenes of this once powerful brand. Big money can magnify small cracks in any relationship, especially in families. If you were in Tamar's position, would you break away? If you were Toni, would you clamp down or try to compromise? This story is evolving in real time, and your opinion matters. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for reading/watching this deep dive. We'll be back with more revelations, more contract leaks, and hopefully a resolution. though at this point, that might be a long shot. Until next time, keep your eyes on the Braxtons, because if anything is certain, it's that this saga is only getting started.